Welcome back, my Duelist friends, Casual Duelist, and again, I'm back with another viewer submission using my video game. Which one was it? Legacy of the Duelist, to go ahead and show off another user deck. So this is going to come from username oOcamy, one of our longtime viewers. And he's always submitting me deck lists, and generally I just don't have the cards. So we made a concession this time because I figured out that I had a ton of cards. I actually think I have unlocked almost every card in this one. The only thing I'm going to be missing is 2 cards in the extra deck. Those are going to be the Access Code Talker and Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Otherwise, this entire list is actually his verbatim, and again, it's all available within the game, minus those 2 links. So again, you can just play whatever you want. You could drop in like Saryuja or something. It would help. It doesn't really matter. Let's go over this deck list. And again, no test hands, but I think this one's going to be pretty self-explanatory, like semi-burn, compounding burn. So it's going to be fun. So let's get into this. So first things first, let's go over all of his like hand traps and stuff, since they just sort of alphabetize these things like I always do. First up will be his artifact Scythe. Good card, great card. So you can set this from the hand as a spell trap. As a spell in the spell trap zones. Again, this is an effect that is afforded to, I want to say, every artifact card. During the opponent's turn, if this card in the spell trap zone is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon it. So again, these were used to help bluff some people out, really smoke out cards like Twin Twisters, right now Feather Duster. Depending on how worried your opponent is about back row, they may even use their Lightning Storm on it. It is what it is, and Artifact Scythe will actually help you limit your losses here. If this card is special summoned during the opponent's turn, the opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, which is why Scythe is one of the most used ones, because again, if you can't touch your extra deck, you tend not to be able to go into full OTKs. Now, the next 10 hand traps are all something that he definitely informed me you could change based on your locals. If people are doing a hella ton of summoning, swap out, get some Nibiru's. But I trust him because he's actually way more competitive a player than I. And I do apologize for all of the dogs. We're just going to go ahead and power through this though. Next one up will be 2 copies Ash Blossom. And again, this is going to stop the opponent from tutoring, summoning, or sending cards from their own deck. Double DD Crow, as a quick effect, can be discarded to banish a card in the opponent's graveyard. So again, a lot of effects can actually lose target, lose effect. Opponent activates, Monster Reborn. I'm going to bring back, insert Saryuja or somebody here. I'm going to go, well, no, DD Crow, I target that Saryuja in response. So yes, you've targeted, I've targeted it, resolve backwards. I banish it, you lose target. Monster Reborn does not resolve. So again, it's fine. Draw and Lockbirds. Again, maximize this because this is actually very good. If a card or cards would be added from the main deck to the opponent's hand except during the draw phase. As a quick effect, you may send this card from the hand to the graveyard. For the rest of the turn, cards cannot be added from either player's main deck to the hand. So, cannot be added means no drawing effects. So again, if they use their Pot of Extravagance, that is outside of the draw phase, and therefore those cards may not be added, but thank you for banishing things from your extra deck. Additionally, any tutoring effects are not going to work. No add from deck to hands, no excavate and add from the deck. Well, I don't know if excavate would be affected. I assume it would. But again, this really does put some pressure on how well the opponent is able to build their hand after this. So again, Draw and Lockbird, premium. 3 effect veilers, and again, this is really good, but the timing. During the opponent's main phase, as a quick effect, you can send this from the hand to the grave, target an effect monster the opponent controls, negate the effects of that face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. So again, very good, can definitely stop a lot of loops. If something does a search on summon, you can respond, stop the search. And unlike other ones like Ash Blossom, this is not a once per turn. If you have all 3 in your hand, you can stop with 3 effects in the same turn. Moving on to the Trickstars, he's using 3 copies of Candina. When this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 Trickstar card from the deck to the hand. So again, this is an immediate tutor. And this is a great way to get your light stage or any one of your other monsters. Each time the opponent activates a spell or trap, inflict 200 damage to them immediately after this resolves. This is going to kick in with one of our spell cards. We'll explain that here in a moment. Next, 2 copies of Korribane. If you control no monsters, or all monsters that you control are Trickstars, then you can special summon this card from your hand. So this is a quick extension, which is great because number 1, 2,000 power. Number 2, 5 stars. So again, great. During the damage step, when your Trickstar monster battles an opponent's monster, as a quick effect, you can send this from the hand to the graveyard. That monster you control gains attack equal to the original attack, to its original attack, until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn, and only once per turn. Or sorry, only 1 effect per turn, and only once per turn. So again, this can help you with battle. So again, kind of important, kind of not. But again, if you've already got the rest of what you need, you can play Candina to just grab Korribane to use it for the hand trap as effect. Next up, single copy Lilybell. This card is added to your hand except by drawing it. So again, Candina's effect, you can special summon it from your hand, which allows us to again multiply out to the field. This effect can only be used once per turn. This can attack directly, which is great. 800 points of chip every time. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target 1 Trickstar in the graveyard, add it back to your hand. This will allow us to reuse Korribane's effect as a hand trap. So guys, again, they're very insistent on teamwork, and they're awesome, so just go ahead and play them. 3 copies of Licorice. Licorice's effect, quick effect, you may reveal this card in the hand, target a Trickstar that you control, except same name. Special summon this card. If you do, return that monster to the hand. So again, you will bounce out whatever monster you did target, which could be the Lilybell, which is then added to your hand, and you didn't draw it, so you can summon it right back. Special summon this card, blah, 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 blah. Each time a card of cards is added to your opponent's hand, inflict 200 points of damage to them. So when they draw at the beginning of their turn, we will start by doling out 200 points of damage. And when they activate spell traps, here's another 200 points of damage. Let's talk about how this compounds. Let's talk about the Dark Room of Nightmare. So every time the opponent takes damage from a source of damage that is not the Dark Room of Nightmare then inflicts 300 points to the opponent. So for instance, they draw 1 card off of Licorice. That is going to be 200 plus 300. If you had 2 copies of Candina and they activate 1 spell card, they activate Monster Reborn. This would be 200 twice, and each one of those 200s would be met with a copy of 300 for 1,000 points of damage that turn. So pretty self-explanatory. It is goofy. The 1 Mystic Mine, you guys all know Mystic Mine. So the goal here is to keep a board under our opponents, which is why we play so few stable monsters, yet so many hand trap monsters. It's all in good fun. Just play. Extravagance, our extra deck. If we do play some of the cards, great. If we don't, whatever. The draw 2 is actually what's important here. This is a great example for goat control. We can definitely use scapegoats during the end phase of our opponent's turn to go ahead and generate a bunch of stuff, and then this will allow us to actually get into some link plays, and I'll try to explain some of that here in a second. Terraforming allows us to pick between our 2 field spells. Again, we could pick the light stage based off of Candina's effect. So again, not too worried. This is mostly going to be my out for grabbing the Mystic Mine instead. Let's talk about the light stage. When this is activated, you can add a Trickstar monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, target a set card in your opponent's spell trap zone. While this is on the field, that card may not be activated until the end phase, and your opponent must activate it during the end phase, or else send it to the graveyard. So, if it is a trap card that is going to miss timing, great. If it is a spell card that would miss timing, great. It could be kind of a punch. It is something. Each time a Trickstar monster you control inflicts battle or effect damage to the opponent, inflict another 200. So let's talk about Candina one more time, or Licorice. Either one does 200 during the instance. 2 Haunter plus Dark Room plus Light Stage plus Dark Room, doing it to Light Stage will equal another version of a compound burn. Now, obviously, if Light Stage goes to 3, I want to say it's at 2 right now, which is why this deck was submitted with 2. You would obviously play a third. This seems to be a no-brainer. You just want to play the best setup you can to create the most amount of burn damage as possible. Next up, we are going to have 2 copies of the Artifact Sanctum. Special summon an artifact from your deck. This allows you to, on your own timing, trigger the Scythe and make it so your opponent cannot activate their extra deck monsters, no summoning them for that turn. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this. Great. We're going to try to do this during the opponent's turn. Anyway, the card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card. Target a card on the field and destroy it. So even if we don't get a chance to activate it, we still want to destroy something on the opponent's side. So this card is so useful. Next up, you got Imperm. Again, he's running doubles. I think this could go to triple, but I honestly couldn't find the room the way he's built this. Maybe a Scapegoats to go to triple. But again, double, totally respect it. Target a face-up monster the opponent controls and get its effects until the end of the turn. And if it was set before activation, any other spell trap in the column cannot be activated. And if you control no cards, meaning your opponent went first or destroyed your entire field, you would be able to activate this card from your hand. So it is a hand trap. And again, perfect. Next up is the Trap Trick trap card. Banish a normal trap from the deck except same name. Target a card with the same name directly from the deck. It can be activated this turn. You can only activate 1 card for the rest of this turn. Sorry, 1 trap card for the rest of this turn after this resolves. You can only activate 1 Trap Trick per turn. Now, why is this important? Reread it. Banish a normal trap. All of our traps are normals. Okay? So you banish the Artifact Sanctum to play an Artifact Sanctum so that you can activate an Artifact Sanctum immediately to get your Scythe and go into the effect. You banish the Impermanence to get an Impermanence, to set the Impermanence, to flip it to immediately activate the effect, and get it where you can actually stun the spell trap in the back row. Or we use our last card, Trickstar Reincarnation. Obviously, this is one we want to maximize on, as oOcamy already did this for us. Banish your opponent's entire hand, and if you do, they draw the same number of cards. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Trickstar monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So what we want to do is we want to tear our opponent's hand up, force them to draw, and then you want to read Candina again. Each time your opponent activates a spell trap. No, so it was Licorice. You can reveal this. Each time a card or cards is added from your opponent's hand. I do believe this is only going to activate as a single instance. Not that we're going to get to burn per card moved. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments section down there. But it will force Licorice's effect for another like 1,000 point burn for no reason. And of course you can then summon back another copy by banishing the copy that you did send to your discard pile. And the extra deck is actually pretty self-explanatory. I did make, I think, 1 substitution. Let me check real quick the email. I made another substitution. I didn't have Lina, the Light Charmer, in this game, Access Code Talker, or Goddess of the Underworld. It's fine. Lina is literally 1 light plus 1 other, like any of the other Charmers are. But we substituted IP Masquerena so we can mess around on the opponent's turn. I think it's a fair exchange. oOcamy, let me know what you think. And as far as the effects, again, we're using Boral Sword. Again, we're going to punch over things. IP lets us mess on the opponent's turn. Cerberus takes out special summon monster. Phoenix, a set spell trap. Unicorn can send anything from field back into the opponent's deck, all on a single discard. We are using 2 Link Spiders because remember, Scapegoat tokens are normal. So we do need to create them into effect monsters in order to get some of these other summons, or we need to be able to make cards with different names. So again, we can use the tokens to block some attacks, and then we can move 1 token into a Link Spider in order to go into a Cerberus or a Phoenix, whatever you want. Same thing with the Link Karibo. It does require level 1. It will create an effect monster. And the thing is, we could summon both of these real quick. Go into something like an IP Masquerena, then activate the secondary effect where we contribute a level 1 monster to special summon 1 back that turn. Because the regeneration from discard is only once per turn, hard once per turn due to the quotes. We are going to be slightly limited here. But it does allow us to play out a full unicorn or an IP Masquerena to pass turn. It's awesome. Next up is the Security Dragon. Any 2 monsters, this helps us generate out of tokens as well. Once while face up on the field, if this is co-linked, target a monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. So again, just a quick little baby bounce. And the thing I love about bouncing things is we can just do it and we can do it quick. So play your Link Karibo out front, play this, drop this right behind it, play your effect, generate into your 3, do whatever you want. At the end, the last 2, the Holly Angels. 2 Trickstar monsters. Each time a Trickstar monsters is normal summoned or special summoned to his zone, discard points to inflict 200 points of damage to the opponent. So again, we want to use this. We want to do things with the Dark Room of Nightmare, and do things where we make this compound burn damage build up. And then again, Trickstar monsters, this card points to cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. If your opponent takes damage by a Trickstar monster's effect, this card gains attack equal to the damage they took until the end of this turn. Starts at 2k. And again, because we can compound the damage, Holly Angel can actually get fairly strong and help us with some battle, maybe pushing for game. So the other 2, you can play whatever you want. You can play Saryuja, get into some more draw, more special summoning effects. You could just play the access code talker because again, for the instances, Boral's sword isn't as good. Access code picks up the slack and vice versa. And then of course, Underworld Goddess, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World will allow us to generate a Link 5 by actually being able to take one of our opponent's monsters as well as some of ours. But again, you're going to want to generate 4 monsters on your own. You can get away with a little less by using the IP Masquerena. And you can also do it during the opponent's turn because of it. So guys, again, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you want to support the channel, do the things. Like, comment, subscribe. If you don't want to do that, you don't need to feel any pressure because the fact that you showed up is more than enough for me to be happy today, my friends. Huge thanks to oOcamy for today's deck list. Again, he doesn't have to submit these things. He chooses to do so to, again, help the community and also show me some really cool things that are going on in his regional meta. And again, just so appreciative of that. This is probably going to be our last viewer submission for a little while that we're actually going to do, unless something just super jumps out at me. I do want to do some other decks this week. So again, I'm not going to be doing test hands at all this week. Just because I want to get you guys 2 physical card lists, and one that oOcamy actually requested is tomorrow. I'm going to be doing something a little techie with some Zombie World, and then I want to throw in a bonus deck list for Friday before we go ahead and get into our tech analysis this week. So again, super thanks for everybody showing up. I do hope that everybody enjoyed this. And even if you don't do the rest of the favors, I want you guys to do this one. I want you guys to go out and try to have a wonderful day. I'm going to go get back to work. I'm going to go get some cards sleeved up. And it's about time we make a real deck list, all right? All right, my friends, you have a wonderful day. And hopefully I will see you guys again tomorrow. See you later.